Okay, I'm starting just a few minutes early to make sure I have the sound set up correctly and that I can share my screen. There we go. Looks like we're sharing screens now. So the way this happens each week is I have created an original PowerPoint presentation to guide the discussion for two reasons. Reason number one, I have a difficult time staying focused, especially in the evenings. Reason number two, I want to make this PowerPoint such that you can utilize it without me. If you're unable to come to the meeting, you can go through the PowerPoint at your own pace, click on the helpful links, and hopefully receive some assistance from the resources for the assignments. So just to get started, I just want to say, please check your announcements on Canvas daily. I communicate via Canvas through the announcements much more often than an email for a couple of reasons. Reason number one, I want to make sure that each student is able to communicate with me the same way. Reason number two, this is a more public forum for communication. So if one person is having an issue, I usually post a response of some form on the announcements. And reason number three, St. Thomas University can monitor my communication with you much more easily through announcements. The course length is 5 weeks. It is an accelerated, fast-paced 5-week course. It's 3 times faster than a standard semester course. So please understand that in 5 weeks, we will cover the same amount of material as a 15-week course, and you will be doing 3 times the amount of work each week. It does feel like a whole lot in the very beginning, but you adjust to how much work do I need to do and what resources are the most helpful to me for this week's assignment. The grading scale is just exactly as it shows on this screen for St. Thomas. A 93 to a 100 is an A. I do round up if you receive a 92.5 at the end of the semester or at the end of the term. Of course, I round that up to a 93, no problem. But one thing I do want you to know is that we only have the potential for 100 points in this course. So every course, every assignment within this course counts. So if it's a 10-point assignment, it counts 10% of your grade. So don't be fooled by the fewer number of points per assignment. Just know that there are only 100 points maximum in the course. So you will receive grades on individual assignments based on the rubric and the assignment expectations. Those two items are provided for each and every written assignment each week. Late assignments will receive a 50% penalty for up to 24 hours late. Assignments received after 1 day late will receive a score of 0. Extra credit, assignment extensions, and exceptions to the late policy are not permitted. And obviously, this is because we only have 5 weeks in the course. If you submit an assignment a few days late, you're already interrupting your progress for the next week. So we want to make sure we stay on pace and we stay on point and expedite the turning in of assignments throughout. Your initial post based on St. Thomas's calendar is due on Wednesday, and it can be very confusing because when you go in to the assignment, it says that it's due on Sunday, but it reminds you that the original post was due on Wednesday. So that is why I created an assignment in the calendar. I'll show you. I think I actually have my calendar pulled up. If you look at the calendar here, I have an entry that says discussion board number 1, initial post due. This is not the format of an assignment, but it's the format of a calendar event so that you will see it on Wednesday and understand that St. Thomas requires that your discussion board initial post be turned in by Wednesday. And then if you'll look on Sundays, let me switch over to July because we're just at the beginning. We switch over to Sundays. There it goes. Your final posting and your otherwise known as your replies are due. So be careful with that. I have several students who make the mistake the first week of missing that Wednesday initial post and actually lose points for that. Now, because our discussion board takes place through Zoom meetings, our Zoom discussions take place on Wednesdays, I have given you an additional 24 hours to turn in your initial post by Thursday at 11:59, because I want you to be able to participate in our meetings and I have full understanding of the expectations of the assignments before you do that initial post. So just as a reminder there. Okay. Written assignments are due Saturdays by 11:59 p.m. Again, that's except for week 1. They're due on the first assignment. If you look back at the calendar, the first written assignment is due, no, it is due Saturday. They've changed it this term. So your first assignment is due Saturday, the annotated bibliography by 11:59, and then the final journal response is due on Sunday. Okay, so let me change this right here because I want to make sure when we use this in the future. No, okay. Now we have it so everybody will understand. So in order to do your annotated bibliography, you have to take a look at the professionally written literature. And so you'll have to preview the literature. Now, your literature preview is not actually due until a week from Saturday, but the entries from the annotated bibliography should be, or most of those items from the annotated bibliography should show up in your literature preview. So the best thing to do is to think of a topic that interests you, not a research question yet, but just something that interests you. And I'll give you an example of how to go through this process. The first thing that you do is you identify a problem area or a broad area for study. And my interest is in teacher-student relationships, how that impacts achievement, how they're manifested. Are they different for gifted students than they are for learning disabled students? Is it different on the East Coast than it is the West Coast of the United States? What does the relationship look like, and what do students need the relationship between student and teacher to be in order to be successful? So you examine the literature. You're going to look at professional journal articles or books, such as the Journal of Curriculum and Pedagogy, Educational Psychologist, or our text Introduction to Research and Education. So you're not going to do blogs, wiki spaces. You're not going to use Urban Dictionary or Merriam-Webster.com. You are going to go to the St. Thomas Library and you're going to search peer-reviewed journal articles or books that are peer-reviewed on your topic. So after that process of finding out information about a general topic, next week, you will focus your literature review on a specific topic. So the sooner you focus your topic, the closer you will be to your proposal. And then the following week, you will identify a research question, a hypothesis, or a purpose. So that's a question to answer, a phenomenon to explain, or a hypothesis to test. So how are relationships between teachers and students established? Do teacher-student relationships impact student achievement? So those would be two potential research questions. So when you preview the literature, why are we looking at journal articles and research-based books? That's because it is empirical research. And empirical research simply means you are reading reports from the actual person who conducted the experiment or the study. That's what makes it empirical, first level research. And then from multiple studies and multiple experiences of empirical research, theories emerge about pedagogy in the field of education. So those emerging theories are what the foundation of curriculum instruction, leadership, management, administration, all of the things that we do in the field of education and in many other fields are based on emerging theories. And those theories come from the trends that are found in the empirical research. So I wanted to see if I could take you to the St. Thomas University Library. It is going to work this time. Sometimes I struggle with the links in my PowerPoint. When you go to the university library, what I would suggest is that you go to the A to Z databases, and I prefer EBSCOhost simply because it's a house for the ERIC articles, which is Educational Resources Information Center, and it's an easy access collection. So you will put in your St. Thomas username and your password, and it will take you to the search. This is basically a search of everything St. Thomas has access to online and in hard copy for your topic. So I do two things when I do a search. I always check the full text limit because I don't want to locate an item unless I can see the full document. An abstract is not going to do me any good if I'm going to review the article. And then I'm going to click on peer reviewed because that means it has been tried and tested and proven to be bona fide research. So I am going to, it says publication type, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and leave it at all because we've already said peer reviewed. And so at the very top, you type in your topic. So I'm going to say teacher-student relationships and click search. And what comes up is a collection of journal articles. See here where it says academic journal, and books that are based on teacher-student relationships. So as I scroll down, I might be interested in motivation to learn and teacher-student relationships because I already know that a student's relationship with his or her teacher greatly impacts his or her ability to take risks and learn. So let's just take a look at this. This is what the ERIC screen looks like. You click here to download full text, and you can pull your citation from here. So this is very easy to use if you will follow the instructions. But if you get confused about where to go, you can go in Library Resources in Canvas, and it will take you to it. Okay, so that's a step-by-step. So one of the purposes of this class is for you to synthesize information, and the key here is that you are going to take information from multiple sources, and you're going to come up with an original idea or theory or system. So synthesis is where you put together ideas from all different parts to form a whole. And your research proposal is a part of, it appears to be a part of a greater area because of all of the research that has been done. But your literature review is really what we're talking about here, where you take all of these sources and you synthesize a theme or a research question or an area, and your literature review will point you in the direction of something that has not yet been explained, and you cannot find it in the literature, so you're going to propose a study to answer that question. So the textbook indicates that synthesis is creating a whole picture of what is known, what is not known, to show how diverse information fits together and makes sense. So it points out gaps, and the purpose of research is to fill in the gaps. So the question is, can you synthesize information from one or two sources? The answer is no, you cannot, because synthesis means multiple. And that would keep your purview narrow if you only use two sources. So let's talk about late assignments. Any assignment submitted up to 24 hours late will earn a maximum of 50%. Any assignment submitted more than 24 hours late will receive a score of 0. There will be no exceptions to this policy. Now, here is a little twist To that, any complete written assignment submitted on time may be revised and resubmitted for full credit within 24 hours of the grade being posted on Canvas. Now, if the assignment was late, it cannot be resubmitted. But if it was submitted on time and complete, then I will provide you with feedback. I will send you that feedback 24 hours from the time that I send you that feedback on Canvas in SpeedGrader. You will have the opportunity to resubmit, make corrections, expand your ideas based on the feedback I have provided. Now, it's really important that you let me know as soon as possible via email that you would like to resubmit, because I have to create a vacancy in the assignment Dropbox for you to put another paper. So your first submitted paper is archived in SpeedGrader, but in order for you to submit it through Turnitin, it must be resubmitted in the assignment Dropbox. So you must let me know if you are going to resubmit. The similarity score from Turnitin notifies the instructor of the percentage of borrowed text. And if you watch the video clip, the Jing video where I'm whispering into the microphone, I'm sorry about that. I don't frequently use those earpiece microphones. You learned that the preferred percentage of borrowed text is less than 20%, and papers over 25% of borrowed text will be returned to the student. After they're returned to you without a grade, you will have 24 hours to correct and resubmit the assignment with a 25% penalty. That's how serious plagiarism is in graduate school. Now, when you submit it after making the corrections because of similarity score issues, that is your final submission. So I'm just explaining the same thing as I did before. So this is what Turnitin looks like. I'm not going to spend much time here because I've already provided you with the video. But this is what I see when you turn in a paper. And it has your name here and the link to where I can download the paper. And then it gives me the percentage of borrowed text. Then when I click on that percentage, it opens up the paper with your name on it and your actual writing. And on the right-hand column, it has a list of all of the resources that match any part of your paper. So for example, number 2 came from the Peabody School of Education at Vanderbilt. So when I click on the 2, and this is a different example from a different paper, so don't get confused. It expands, and every word that is highlighted in pink is listed in pink font on my pop-up window. So everything pink here was borrowed. Now this is a concerning issue. Now, here's the thing. The student did use a citation, but the student did not use quotation marks. And for that many words belonging to another author, this was direct quoting. There should have been quotation marks there. This is where a student's paper was submitted and someone located it online and actually copied from another student's paper. And this just tells us that it was a student paper submitted to Utah Valley State College. Now, please be aware, if you are using or quoting items from a paper that you have formerly written, you must use yourself as a source and the title of the other paper in your reference list, because you are borrowing something you have previously published. So let's talk about the discussion board. I have a link here, if it will work, to a YouTube video that is very quick that just goes through how to properly do a discussion board. I'm not going to
one way that we use the principle teach one another from the BYU item.
I'm not going to use 3 minutes and 14 seconds of your time for us all to sit here and watch this video together, because I know you'll be watching it on your own time if you're interested. But that's a quick little tutorial on how to participate in discussion boards and what's appropriate and what is not appropriate. Because discussion boards are online, it's easy to confuse them with social media and to be very informal. But a discussion board for a graduate class is the same as a written communication that's formally turned into a teacher. So you maintain your professional tone and you maintain proper standard English in your writing. You avoid abbreviations, you avoid sarcasm and personal statements. So make sure you watch that video clip to get some hints, especially since there are several of you who have been away from the student environment for many years and maybe have never done a discussion board before. So that will be something helpful. So for your discussion board, you're going to select one of the most useful articles that you've done in your annotated bibliography. You're going to provide a brief summary of the main points of your article with a description of how that article fits your topic. Include one paraphrase and one quote from your article using proper APA style. So we're practicing the APA citation style, American Psychological Association, from the very, very beginning. Many of you probably used MLA, Modern Language Association citation format in undergraduate courses, but this program uses APA. You should have a manual, but there's some great resources online that I will provide you should you need additional help. So make sure you follow the very specific instructions and then take a look at the discussion board rubric. Okay, there are some very specific things for your responses. Are you integrating multiple perspectives? Are you creating opportunities for reflection? Are you considering other discussions' views? So make sure you take that extra step to add depth to your post rather than just saying, oh, that was great, I enjoyed it, I think I might try that. Add depth, show that you've done your homework, and that's the main part for the reflection. So assignment number 1, you are going to do an APA annotated bibliography of at least 10 peer-reviewed sources. Now, here it has a link to the Purdue Online Writing Lab in the assignment, an APA template. Now, I will provide you with a solid annotated bibliography as an example. I will put it on the announcement so that you will see the format of a nice APA annotated bibliography, just in case this template, I'll double check. I cannot remember if that template provides it or not, but if it does not, I will send one through announcements. So the annotated bibliography has very specific information for your conceptual understanding, focus and ideas, use of language, citations and references, and description of criterion. So just make sure on the bottom of this rubric, if that's actually a typographical error, it should say APA format, but the columns are correct in saying that it's about APA style. So if you use graduate level standard English and you properly cite and reference materials and you use APA format, you're going to do well in this course. One of the primary purposes of this course is to prepare you for graduate level writing. So you need to download the template from announcements for the annotated bibliography, which I will provide for you this evening. So since there's no one online with us right now, I want to go through and just show you some samples of APA citations and references, just a couple of minutes. Notice how the date is after the author. And if you get a message from me that says use an author tag or an introductory phrase when embedding a quote, that's what this means right here. Introduce the quote with an author tag, meaning according to Lee, this is the author and this is the date that the author wrote this piece of information. Far too little attention has been given to understanding trust relationships in classroom and schools. And then page 210. So if you use an author tag, you don't have to put the rest of the information in parentheses because it's included in the body of your text. There's a standard reference for direct quotes. So I just encourage you to take some time and learn about these typical examples. I'm giving you an example of probably everything that you would ever have to use in the rest of this PowerPoint. And it does go on and on. There's an example reference page and examples of how to cite specific types of references, in addition to a link for citing an online source with no author, which you probably will not frequently do in this course because you're using peer-reviewed sources, but for future classes, this will be helpful as well. So our time is just about up. I'm hoping that the video is properly going through and synthesizing, and it's going to be ready on YouTube. Sometimes we have problems, operator error, sometimes. But please know that if you have any questions this week, I will be available via email. One thing I need to let you know is next week we will not be meeting online. I will post a video from last term's week 2 meeting so that you can go on and go through the exact same motions. I may do that on Monday instead of on Wednesday, just so that you can get a step ahead. And so you will have the Zoom meeting available to you starting in week 1. Thank you very much for coming to the meeting, watching it late, using the PowerPoint, whatever it is that meets your needs. Just know that my students benefit greatly when they use the materials in the Zoom meeting. So thanks very much and have a great week, and welcome to week 1.